Welcome to Sillycraft, Spacewalkers. I'm Silly Does Things, and this is my modded survival Let's Play series. In Sillycraft, I've taken on the life of a pixie. I'll be building kingdoms and exploring all the magic mods in this world. Today is all about getting set up for the massive projects ahead. Luckily, being this small gives me advantages. As a pixie, I'm granted the gift of flight. I can dash forward, shoot upward, and even hover midair. Since I have wings, I can't wear an elytra, and I'm stuck using only leather chest plates. It's a fair trade though, because my size is my best defense. I can squeeze through the small scraps and fall without taking a single bit of damage. But with just 5 hearts, even the water is a threat. Water's the least of my worries though. Little did I know, a far greater danger awaited. He marches to the drums of war. He doesn't speak, he conjures. He doesn't negotiate, he commands. They say power always comes with a contract. I never signed his. I'd head to the nearest village for safety, but not everyone sees me as a hero. To the villagers, I'm just a fluttering nuisance, a living legend of missing bread and broken lanterns. I'm not dangerous, just disruptive enough that they refuse to trade with me. At least as a pixie, I can rely on my good fortune. When I started this world, I intended to find the perfect locations first. It didn't take me long to find the cliffside. I followed the river and it led me to here. There's a small sea cave down here that's going to serve as our first base. Just big enough to store things and to actually have somewhere to land at the end of the day. It'll work for a long time, or at least until we have a proper warehouse built. This location has a lot of potential. We can build a kingdom here. There are many steps to take before we do. We must prepare first. Part of preparation is gathering. Now that we have a base we can come back to, we can explore Sillycraft for materials. The modded structures in my world are absolutely massive and can be dangerous. We need to be cautious. With so many places to discover and a task in hand, we were passing by bands of pillagers, wizarding towers, and voyaging villagers, traveling village to village on a mission to find materials. Specifically, materials for an enchanting table. The villages have what I need, so I don't have to grind for it. But by doing it this way, I was setting a reputation for myself in each village I waystoned to. Now I've got the materials for the enchanting table ready to go. But the table's just a block of obsidian if I don't have the levels to actually power it. I'm in need of a power source now, and I need it close to home. I checked the caves nearby, and after a few hours of wandering, I found a zombie spawner and a skeleton spawner. To finish building my spawners, I needed soul sand, which meant a trip to the nether. The nether proved to be way harder than I thought. These crimson mosquitoes were a surprise battle I definitely wasn't prepared for. After dying to them once, I wasn't about to let them do it again. The nether was a detour, but a necessary one. Now, the real work begins. These farms are the heart of this episode, and honestly, the backbone of my survival. Since I'm going to be coming back here constantly for levels, I needed to clear this place out, so I used my excavation mod to help with the heavy lifting. I don't want this to just be any spawner room. I want to turn this into a proper hub. A place of operations for everything we do. I've actually learned a few tricks with excavating, like being able to toggle the dig size and crafting millions of stone picks just to get the job done. While I was focused on the walls, something was focusing on me. I thought I was safe in the light, but he found me. The necromancer. I barely saw him. He was just a blur in the dark that nearly ended me before I could even react. It reminded me that no matter how much I progress, I'm still being hunted. With only 5 hearts, there's no room for mistakes, and the deeper I go into these caves, the stranger things get. Gathering items is tough when you're pocket-sized. Usually, I have to walk directly into every single item just to pick it up. So, to make life easier, I crafted the advanced magnet upgrade. It pulls everything in and stores it directly into my backpack. I needed a bunch of sand for the next part of the build, so it was the perfect time to test it out. And that's when I discovered the rain frog. I wanted to bring him home, so I looked away from the screen for just a second to see how to tame him, and in an instant, a sandstorm caught up to me and got my little friend instead of me. I got instant revenge for what it did, and while doing so, I spotted his friend. Oh my. He looked so devastated. Seeing him sitting there alone, I couldn't bring him home yet. I still had a job to do. With some Froggy inspiration, I began building the center point of it all. We needed a place for all the magic and our frogs. We can't study magic without a big old place for it. And this cave provided the best opportunity to let my imagination flow. Since the villagers refused to trade with me, this XP room is actually my lifeline. I can't just buy mending books, so I'll be using levels often. That's why this build is so important to finish first. I got to work, but as I progressed, I realized just how dark and cramped it felt down here. I kinda had a crazy idea, so I decided to go look and see exactly how far we were from the surface. When I finally broke through and checked my map, I couldn't believe what I saw. I realized I was sitting directly in the center of the continent, just down the river from the cliffside. With all that space cleared out, I got right to building. It was a constant cycle of construction and restocking, harvesting crops and crafting the supplies I needed to keep the momentum going. I've already made significant progress. Now we're moving on to the last floor of the build. Now that the last floor is complete, it's time to shape the walls. I've been using a few combinations of blocks for different parts, and for the walls, I'm using ash diorite, marble bricks, and warpite fungus. I got carried away with building, and that eventually led me to creating this tower. I wanted the light to shine through the windows, but I didn't mean for it to come alive. The lightning strike was no accident. Remember when I said the XP farms are my lifeline? Well, I've been utilizing the Curled Tombstones mod to manage my gear since, as a pixie, I don't have a good way to access mending yet. When my tools get too expensive to repair, I use the souls gathered in the graves to pull the enchantments off, so that I never lose an enchantment again. For the next part, to truly bring this vision of mine to life, I need to do the unthinkable. Now, I know what you're thinking. Silly, being submerged like this would be a death sentence. And yes, you are right. As a pixie, water is supposed to be a threat, but for some reason it's broken. And it's not the only thing that's broken either. There's tree folk that live here. I felt bad for destroying the land around them, but then I caught this one just vibing. I honestly didn't even know they danced. And I think I accidentally drowned him when I flooded the land. Hours turned into days, days into weeks, and eventually, I lost track of how long it had been. There's going to be a canal here, wide enough for the ships to sail straight from the ocean, through here, and into our other area following the river that's already there. I modified the depth of it for the ships, but it's going to be our biggest challenge when we start working on this project. Everything I did, all that digging, filling, and flooding, was just to shape these walls exactly how I wanted. I wanted the ocean to feel alive, to move through the build, not just around it. So I built these walls to guard the water, to let the ocean become part of the story. To finish this place off, we have the back of the build to complete. I need to connect each floor of this place to one spot. So the top row will go down and lead to here on both sides. The middle row will come up through here too, and they will all go up using the elevator block. These will be rooms right here, and to leave this place, you'll have to cross a bridge that connects everything back together. Building again felt rewarding. I had spent a lot of time thinking about how to make this all work. All the water needed to flow somewhere, and all the floors needed to lead to the bridge. It was kind of like a giant puzzle I made for myself. Now that I have the 2 anchors built, I'm able to tie both sides together with the bridge. The other side of the build, it's the last part, and it allows me to finally finish building the walls that wrap around the entire sanctuary. To finish things off, I wanted to try a new block, so I headed to the swamp to gather clay. Look, the swamps are usually filled with wild and dangerous things trying to eat you. It's not unusual to see an anaconda trying to eat a fish. But I never expected the fish to eat the anaconda. I went home completely confused and ready to wrap things up. I built this place with nothing but pure intentions. By raising it up and out of the trenches, I opened up magic to the entire world. I like to spend a lot of time thinking about how I want things to look, and one block at a time, I use my imagination to build things that would have made little Silly proud. It's been well over a year's worth of progress, and I have a lot more I want to do. But this'll do for now. From what was a terrifying cave full of monsters and doubt, is now a living sanctuary to keep us safe. With the necromancer and his army out there somewhere, we needed to find a way to rise above him. So, my friends, Spacewalkers, welcome to the College of Knowledge. This is a place of study, born from the discovery of magic. A space where the sun and sea gather, endlessly exchanging knowledge of the universe. A gentle guardian guiding us through the cosmos. And if you follow me this way, Spacewalkers, this is the path you have to take to find your seats. So, sit down and listen carefully. This entire structure is built on meaning, designed to function as a giant sundial. It symbolizes time, progression, and mastery over cycles. At its center mass, sitting beneath the tower, lies the stage. Now, I created this world with intention, so let me explain. There are 3 passages down here, and all 3 of these passages are gateways for studying knowledge. The knowledge of magic. See, some materials in our world naturally hold mana inside of them. Crystals like this, when built around spawners, create a controlled source of souls that feed directly into the enchanting process. For something as small as me, this is how you become powerful. It started as survival, just enough to stay alive. But power is persuasive, and what followed was a poisonous progression. I started building because I needed control. Being small in a world of billions, sometimes the only thing you can do is build a world and see who shows up. I didn't expect anyone to stay, but he did. And you too. Through every build, every season, You guys were there. But like any story still being written, some chapters are unfinished and progression never really stops. There's still a lot of blocks I want to change around down here, and for what we're doing, having a skeleton spawner this close to the zombie one is incredibly useful. Power has to come from somewhere, and here, it comes from the souls of the things that try to stop us. Because if we're ever going to stand against the Necromancer and his army, we have to become something stronger than what he expects. It's going to take a lot of strength, because there's still plenty to build, plenty to discover, and plenty of magic left to understand. But for now, the College of Knowledge stands. And this is only the beginning.